Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going deep on password vaulting.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, we're going to figure out what it is, why it matters, and how it can help you.
Right on.
We've got some really interesting articles and even a few YouTube videos.
Nice.
Yeah, including some insights from a guy named Bert Blevins
Okay.
about a company called Delinea.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, so by the end of this deep dive,
Right.
you'll be a password vaulting pro ready to make smart decisions about your own security.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because there was this study I just saw, and it said that over 80% of data breaches are caused by, you guessed it, weak or reused passwords.
80%. No, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a big problem.
So, okay, let's start with the basics.
Sure.
What exactly is password vaulting?
Well, think of it like this.
Right.
You've got this super secure digital safe, and that's where you keep all your passwords.
Okay.
So instead of,
right.
trying to remember a zillion different passwords,
Right.
you just need to remember one. And that's your master password to unlock the vault.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how does this vault
Uh,
actually protect my passwords?
encryption.
Okay.
Yeah, it basically scrambles all your passwords up, makes
Yeah.
them totally unreadable,
Right.
and the only way to unscramble them is
Yeah.
with that master password.
So it's like,
It's like a secret code.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
What happens if somebody guesses my master password?
That's where two-factor authentication comes in.
Two-factor authentication.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an extra layer of security.
Okay.
So it's not just your password.
Right.
You also need something else, like a code from your phone or something.
So like a double lock on a door.
Exactly. Makes it way harder for anyone to get into your vault.
Okay, so two-factor authentication is like a bodyguard.
Haha. Yeah, you could say that.
Gotcha.
It's there to protect that master password.
All right, so
Yeah.
I get that remembering passwords is a pain.
Oh, tell me about it.
But is it really that big of a deal? Why should I even bother with a password vault?
Because the consequences of not using one can be pretty scary, you know? Remember those data breaches we talked about?
Yeah.
Those can lead to identity theft,
Oh, no.
financial loss, all sorts of headaches.
Right.
Password vaulting, it's one of the easiest and best ways to protect yourself.
So it's not just about convenience.
Right.
It's about protecting myself from real threats.
Exactly. It's like investing in a security system for your house.
Okay.
You might not need it every day,
Right.
but when you do, you'll be really glad you have it.
Okay. You've convinced me.
Right.
Password vaulting is worth looking into.
Absolutely.
But how does all this work in the real world?
Well, there are a ton of different password vault providers out there.
Okay.
Each one has its own features and costs.
So there's no like one-size-fits-all solution.
Not really, no.
Okay.
Some providers have really advanced features,
Like what?
like secure file storage or password sharing, while others are all about keeping things simple and easy to use.
So I need to find one that
Yeah,
works for me.
exactly. You want to pick a provider that fits your needs and your budget.
So finding the right provider is like the first step.
It's crucial. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
right.
with any important service, you want to make sure you choose someone with a good reputation.
What should I be looking for when choosing a provider?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Look for things like strong encryption, two-factor authentication, and regular backups.
Okay, those make sense.
Yeah.
I also saw this company called Delinea in the research you sent.
Oh, yeah.
They seem to be pretty big in the password vaulting world.
They specialize in something called privileged access management.
Privilege access management.
Or PAY for short.
PM. Okay.
Yeah. It's basically a more advanced kind of password vaulting
Okay.
that focuses on protecting the most important accounts in an organization.
So like accounts that have access to really sensitive data?
Exactly, like system administrators, database administrators, anyone with like the keys to the kingdom.
So Delinea is more for businesses than for individuals.
That's right.
Okay.
They have all sorts of solutions designed to help businesses big and small secure and manage their most sensitive passwords and accounts.
Interesting.
They even have a feature called just-in-time permissions to like minimize the window of opportunity for attackers.
Wow, that sounds really secure.
Oh, it is.
So for someone like me just trying to keep my own account safe,
Yeah.
would a regular password vault be enough?
Oh, absolutely. A standard password vault will give you plenty of protection for your personal accounts.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So we've covered what password vaulting is, why it's important,
Mm-hmm.
and even talked about some different providers out there.
Right. We've seen that while a company like Delinea focuses on larger organizations,
Right.
choosing a good provider is key for everyone, even individuals.
Yep.
Exactly. But how do I actually use a password vault effectively? What are the best practices?
Best practices.
Oh, let's dive into that. Okay, so think of these best practices as your guide
Okay.
to like getting the most out of your password vault.
Gotcha.
So first things first,
Yeah.
we got to pick a good provider.
Right. We talked about that.
We did, yeah.
Doing your research,
Yeah.
picking someone you can trust.
You're handing over your sensitive info to this company,
Right.
so you got to do your homework.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say I've done that. I've picked a provider.
All right.
Best.
Next up, we've got that master password.
Oh, yeah. The master password.
We mentioned it before.
Right.
But it's so important, it's worth repeating.
I agree.
This is the key to your whole digital life.
It's like having one key that unlocks all your online treasure chests.
Exactly. You got to make it strong.
Okay. So how do I make a super strong master password?
The longer and more complex, the better.
Okay.
Mix it up. Use uppercase, lowercase letters, numbers, symbols, the whole 9 yards. And stay away from anything easy to guess.
Like my birthday.
Yeah, exactly. Or your pet's name.
Right.
Common phrases, those are a no-go.
So think random and unique.
Think outside the box. I've even heard of people using song lyrics or movie quotes.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a fun way to create a password that's memorable.
But still secure.
Right. As long as it's not something publicly associated with you, you're golden.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got a good provider, a super strong master password.
Check and check.
What else can we do to really up our password vaulting game?
Don't just set it and forget it.
Okay.
Make it a habit to change your passwords regularly.
Regular, like how often?
Every few months is ideal.
Right.
And a lot of password vaults actually have features that make this super easy.
Oh, really?
They can generate strong random passwords for you
Okay.
and even update them automatically.
Wow, that's convenient.
It is, right. It takes all the hassle out of password management.
So much easier.
Yeah. And speaking of hassle-free security, make sure you're turning on two-factor authentication.
Oh, yeah, two-factor authentication.
Yeah, remember we talked about that as a backup for your master password.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important for your individual accounts, too.
So every time I log in.
Yeah, pretty much it's that extra layer of protection.
Got
Makes it way harder for anyone to get into your accounts.
Okay, two-factor authentication check.
Oh, right.
What about backing up the vault itself? Is that something I need to worry about?
It's definitely worth thinking about.
Okay.
Just like you back up your computer,
Right.
you should back up your password vault, too.
Makes sense. Why?
Well, what if your device crashes or you lose it?
Oh, right.
Or even if you accidentally delete the vault.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay, so backing up is important.
It is, and the good news is
Yeah.
most providers have different backup options.
Oh, okay.
So you can pick what works best for you.
Okay, so we've got a reputable provider, a super strong master password.
Yep.
Regular updates, two-factor authentication backups.
Mhm.
You got it.
It's like building a digital fortress.
Exactly. Brick by brick.
Anything else we should keep in mind as we navigate this world of password vaulting?
Yeah, don't be afraid to explore.
Explore.
There are so many different password vault providers out there.
Right.
They all have their own strengths and features.
So try out different ones.
Exactly. See what fits you best.
Okay.
A lot of them offer free trials.
So you can kind of test drive them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You want to make sure it's a good fit before you commit.
Like trying on a pair of shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You wouldn't buy shoes without trying them on, would you?
Nope.
Same thing with password vaults.
Okay, that makes sense.
And remember, password vaulting, it's important.
Yeah.
But it's just one piece of the cybersecurity puzzle.
Okay, now you've got me curious.
Mm-hmm.
What else should we be thinking about when it comes to protecting ourselves online?
Well, the digital world is constantly changing.
Right.
The bad guys are getting smarter.
So it's not enough to just have a strong password. Unfortunately, no, a strong password is a great start.
Okay.
But it's just the foundation.
Like a good lock on your door.
Exactly. But to really protect your house,
Yeah.
you need more.
Like what?
Like an alarm system, security cameras,
Okay.
maybe even a guard dog.
So what are some other security systems we should be thinking about for our digital lives?
Well, we already talked about multi-factor authentication.
Right.
That's a big one.
Like having a security checkpoint.
Exactly. At every entrance to your digital world.
So every time I log in, it's like going through airport security.
Maybe not that intense.
Okay.
But you get the idea. It adds an extra layer of verification.
Right, to make sure it's really me.
That's right.
Okay. Multi-factor authentication check.
All right. What else?
Yeah.
Staying informed about the latest cyber threats is huge.
So it's like reading the news.
Yeah. But for the digital world,
Okay.
subscribe to some security newsletters,
Mm-hmm.
follow some cybersecurity experts on social media, And keep your software and operating systems up to date.
So all the latest security patches.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to cybersecurity.
Okay, knowledge is power. Got it.
And speaking of knowledge,
Yes.
let's talk about phishing attacks.
Phishing attacks.
Yeah, have you heard of those?
I think so.
Those are when hackers try to trick you
Okay.
into giving them your passwords or other sensitive information.
Oh, yeah, like those emails that look like they're from your bank.
Exactly. It can be really sneaky.
So how do I avoid falling for a phishing attack?
Awareness is key.
Okay.
Be careful about any emails, links, or attachments that seem suspicious.
But if something seems off,
don't click it.
gotcha.
Hover over links to see where they actually go.
Okay.
And never, ever enter your passwords on a website you don't trust.
So it's all about being careful and using common sense.
Pretty much, yeah. Don't let your guard down online.
Okay.
Treat your passwords like gold.
Right.
And your personal information like top secret stuff.
Okay. I'm feeling much more empowered.
Good.
But I have to ask, with all these security measures in place, are we ever really safe online?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And a tough one.
Okay.
The truth is, in the world of cybersecurity,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as 100% security.
So there's always some risk.
It's a constant back and forth
Okay.
between the good guys and the bad guys.
So it's like a never-ending battle.
In a way, yeah.
That's kind of daunting.
It can be.
But it's also kind of exciting.
It is. It keeps things interesting.
But even though we can't eliminate risk entirely,
Right.
we can minimize it.
Right. Absolutely. By being proactive,
Okay.
having multiple layers of security,
Right.
we can make it much harder for the bad guys to succeed.
So we want to make ourselves less attractive targets.
Exactly. Make them move on to easier prey.
Okay. That makes me feel a little better.
Good.
So we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
from password vaulting basics
Mhm.
to the bigger picture of cybersecurity.
Yep.
But before we wrap up, I'm curious about your thoughts on the future of password security.
Ooh, that's a good one.
No.
The traditional password has been around forever,
It has.
and it's definitely showing its age.
So are we moving towards a passwordless future?
There's a lot of talk about that.
Yeah.
And we are seeing some really cool developments.
Like what?
Things like biometrics.
Biometrics.
Yeah, like using your fingerprint or your face to log in.
So instead of typing in a password, I might one day unlock my accounts with my eyeball.
It's possible.
Wow, that sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right? But it's closer than you might think.
So it sounds like the future of password security is still up in the air.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. Lots of possibilities.
Any other predictions or insights about where all this is headed?
It's hard to say for sure, but I think it's safe to say that security is going to be even more important in the future.
Right.
And we're going to see a lot of new and innovative solutions.
It's like a constant race between the good guys and the bad guys.
It is. Trying to stay one step ahead.
Well, let's bring it back to the here and now.
Okay.
We've talked about a lot today.
We have, yeah.
The ins and outs of password vaulting.
Yes.
The benefits, best practices, the whole cybersecurity landscape, even a glimpse into the future.
Right.
What's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from all this?
I think the most important thing to remember is this.
Okay.
Don't underestimate cybersecurity.
Right.
It's not just about protecting data.
It's about protecting ourselves.
Exactly. It's about protecting your identity, your finances, your reputation, your peace of mind.
It's about taking control of your digital life.
That's a great way to put it.
And we've learned that password vaulting is a really good place to start.
It is. It's like the foundation.
So for those listening who are ready to take action, what's the first step?
Choose a password vault provider.
Okay.
We talked about doing your research, comparing features, reading reviews.
Right. Finding one that's a good fit.
Exactly. And don't forget, a lot of providers offer free trials.
So you can try before you...
Exactly.
Okay, so once you've picked a provider, what's next?
It's time to create that super strong master password.
The one that unlocks everything.
That's the one. Make it long, make it complex, make it impossible to guess.
Uppercase, lowercase numbers, symbols, the whole shebang.
The works. And if you're worried about forgetting it,
Which, let's be honest, is a valid concern.
it is. Write it down on a piece of paper
Okay.
and keep it somewhere safe, like a locked drawer or a safe deposit box.
Got it. Just don't keep it with your passport or social security card.
Right, keep it separate.
Okay, so we've chosen a provider. We've got our master password written down and stored safely.
Check, check, and check.
What's next?
Now it's time to start filling up that vault.
Okay.
With all those passwords you've been trying to remember.
All those random combinations of letters and numbers.
Exactly. Most password vaults make it really easy to import passwords from your browser or other password managers.
Oh, is that handy?
Yeah. You can also enter them manually or use the password generator to create new, strong passwords.
And don't forget about two-factor authentication and backups.
Oh, right. Those are crucial too.
They add those extra layers of protection.
They do. And speaking of help,
Yeah.
remember, most password vault providers have great customer support.
Oh, yeah.
So if you get stuck or have any questions,
Right.
don't hesitate to reach out.
They're there to help.
They are. They'll walk you through it.
Well, I think we've covered everything we set out to do today.
I think so.
We explored the world of password vaulting.
We did.
And hopefully our listeners are feeling empowered and ready to take charge of their online security.
That's the goal.
Any final thoughts before we sign off?
I would just say this.
Yeah.
Don't think of cybersecurity as a chore.
It's an opportunity.
Exactly. It's a chance to take control of your digital life.
To learn about the risks and make smart choices.
You got it.
It's about shaping the online world we want to live in.
Well said.
So for everyone listening out there, remember, knowledge is power, security is a choice.
And taking that first step towards a safer digital life is often the easiest one.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe.